Let's talk about gambling. The lottery is now a $107 billion industry. Recently, USA earned a record $60.42 billion in casino games, sports betting, and iGaming revenue. That's up almost 14% from previous years and 38.5% from 2019. And if you haven't noticed, it'll be really hard to miss because they're everywhere, on your laptop, on your computer, on your television. Celebrities are lining up to get endorsement deals to make sure you can squander your money to help these organizations rake in on some of these record-breaking profits. Let's check out a couple of them. Here's a couple of stats for you. The lowest income households in America spend about $412 on average per year on lotto tickets. That actually is over 4 times the amount that high income earners spend on lotto tickets. A survey found that individuals in the lowest fifth of socioeconomic status played the lottery on average about 26 days per year. Those individuals in the second lowest fifth played the lotto on average about 18 days per year. Those individuals in every other economic status play the lotto on average about 10 days per year or less. So that basically means that those individuals that are making less money are playing the lotto a whole lot more. And this really doesn't make a lot of economic sense considering that about 40% of America couldn't even come up with $400 in a time of emergency. And individuals who are making less are doing all this for a losing proposition. On average, for every $10 of money spent on lottery tickets, you'll earn maybe $5. So that means you're literally losing half of your money every single time you play in the lottery. Well, that's what the lottery is doing, and it really hurts those individuals at the bottom rung of socioeconomic status because they have a lot less to lose. So the question we should all be asking is why? Why are individuals who are making less money playing so much more lottery and gambling? Why is there such a negative correlation between education and income and gambling? The more you have education, the more income you earn, the less you gamble. Well, here are a few stats that might get us to the bottom of this. The National Gambling Impact Study Commission did a study. They found that households of $100,000 or more in income are heavy users of casinos, but they don't develop problems of addiction. So what that stat says to me is that those individuals who are making $100,000 or more are using the lottery and gambling as more leisurely activities. When I was a stock trader, I was making a high 6-figure salary. I might have joined a couple of pools on lottery and whatnot, but you know what? Sometimes I wouldn't even remember if the drawing was the next day or that because I just didn't really take it seriously. It was more about fun, and we would talk, and this is what we might be able to do if we got it, and I'm not showing up to work tomorrow. It was a fun thing. But I definitely didn't bank on it. But check out the stat for those individuals who are not making $100,000. The University at Buffalo Research Institute on Addictions shows that gambling rates are 100% higher in neighborhoods with above average poverty levels. That means a lower income area in which many people live under poverty. They are much more likely to gamble, which of course increases and perpetuates poverty. So what that stat says to me is that if you're making over $100,000 a year, you're doing it for leisure. But if you're making, let's say, $30,000 a year, you're more prone to addiction because you might be doing it for hope. Every single dollar means a whole lot more if you're making $30,000 a year. And you're struggling, you're living check to Tuesday, and you're really looking like, this could be my big break. So that's why they're more prone to addiction. There's more of a bigger emotional attachment to those individuals in the lower income bracket. So it might just be the case that lower income households gamble more because they're using it as an opportunity to advance. They might see it as their only opportunity to advance, the only opportunity to get out of this hell, to get out of this check to Tuesday type living, to make sure that I see all these people balling on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok doing things that I can't afford. This lottery, this gambling thing might just be my ticket out of here. Lower income households might be gambling more because they subconsciously view it as a social equalizer. Check it out. If you have a scratch-off ticket and you're in a low-income household, at that moment, anybody else that has that exact same type of scratch-off ticket, you all have the exact same odds of winning. So if you're scratching off a ticket and Mark Zuckerberg has the same brand of scratch-off ticket, at that moment, for that particular ticket, you are exactly the same. There's no such thing as a billionaire that has a better odds of winning than you do because you are exactly the same. Same principle applies for if you're at the casino and you're pulling that lever. Anybody that walks up and they pull that lever down has the exact same odds of winning as anybody else. So if Warren Buffett comes in and they start pulling the lever and he doesn't win, when you walk up after Warren Buffett, you are the same as Warren Buffett, at least while you're pulling that lever. It makes you feel good. As a matter of fact, when you're talking about sports betting, at that moment, you might not have a lot of money, but you know your home team. You know your home team better than anybody else. So I'm from Detroit. And let's just say I'm in a low-income household in Detroit, and I love my Pistons. I know the Pistons better than anybody else. So as a matter of fact, that individual might feel they have an advantage at betting on that game because I know the Pistons better than anyone. And so Mark Zuckerberg or Warren Buffett, they might have billions of dollars, but they don't have my knowledge of the Detroit Pistons. So in that case, they might feel that they are superior, and they might feel that in no other time do they have that feeling. So that could be the case of while they're playing a scratch off and doing a lotto because it's a social equalizer. And in my experience, in counseling hundreds of individuals in low-income households, that many of them have had gambling issues, I have noticed a very significant lack of faith. They've lost faith. And many of them, because they have no faith, have more faith in luck than they have faith in what God has put inside of them to become successful. So all the things that individuals who have a higher education, who might have had income, who have more opportunity for advancement, or have been able to be put in a better situation for advancement, they realize that the skills and talents on the inside of them is the true lotto ticket. But if you are beaten down by life and you're having a very hard time and challenging time financially, then you know what? That luck might be the only thing you can cling to. So the lack of faith is a very significant problem in low-income households across this country. So Main Street America, can we have a come to Jesus meeting for a second here? I have some questions I want you to ask yourself. These questions are very important, that you take some time to really think about them and be honest with yourself, because the answer to these questions, if you answer yes on any one of them, you might have a gambling issue. The first question deals with how frequently are you gambling? Do you find yourself gambling more and more? Do you find yourself going onto various sites more frequently now, more than you ever have? Do you find yourself trying to find additional money to continue gambling more than you ever have? If the answer is yes, you might have a gambling issue. The second question has to deal with your relationships. Many times individuals who develop a gambling issue start to remove themselves from relationships. They don't want to be held accountable. They want to be by themselves to do all they need to do to try to make sure they can get that next lick at the casino or scratch off by themselves without someone asking, hey, what are you doing? Because any type of relationships might just hold them accountable for how much they're spending, whether it be their wife or their husband, their mother, their father, their sister or brother, their children, whoever it is. The more people that can see your habits, or the more people that might have to check your habits, and you don't want to be checked. So ask yourself, are you withdrawing from relationships? If you are, you could have a gambling issue. Have you borrowed money to cover your gambling debts? Are you always trying to hide your bets or hide your gambling habit from other individuals? Do you feel the urge to just keep on playing, to keep on betting, even though you're losing a lot of money? Has your gambling caused you any sort of health-related issues? You can't sleep at night. You have a whole lot of stress. Your heart is beating out of your chest. Anxiety attacks. Have you had any of those things and you think it's related to your gambling? Do you have strong feelings of guilt or remorse because of the amount of gambling that you're doing or the amount of impact that it's having on your household financially? If you've answered yes to any of these questions, you may need to dial 1-800-GAMBLER. This is the phone number for the National Problem Gambling Hotline. It serves as a resource for individuals who may be struggling with problem gambling or gambling addiction, or their loved ones. So I get it. Whether you're making $30,000 a year, $100,000 a year or more, I'm under no false impression that people are just going to stop gambling. I wish you would. But if you have to keep gambling, here are a couple of financial tips you can use. Tip number 1. Never bet more than you can afford to lose. Or, as I always like to say, how much money can you afford to flush down the toilet and not be upset or set behind with your financial goals? Tip number 2, write out your financial goals and commit them to memory. The more you have your financial goals memorized and written out, the more you're going to remember that house you have to save for, that business you're trying to save for, that education you're trying to plan for your children, that retirement you're planning for. All these things should be floating around in your head, and the more they're floating around in your head, the less prone you are to waste money at the casino. Set time and money limits. Limit the amount of time you spend scratching off at the casino or playing lotto, whatever it may be. Also, limit the amount of money that you're spending. And again, that goes right back to your budget and how much you can afford to lose. Tip number 4, never borrow money to gamble. I've seen individuals get into the hole deeper and deeper and deeper, thinking that the next big lick is going to get them out of that hole. It doesn't happen that way. The house is designed to win. Never, never, never borrow to gamble. Tip number 5, just don't gamble. I get it. As I said before, I'm under no false impression, and not everybody's going to follow this tip, but I have to put it out there. I've seen so many households broken up by this deadly, deadly habit. And I say deadly because I actually have seen individuals and known individuals commit suicide because of their gambling habit. I've seen depression. I've seen individuals begin to self-medicate themselves through alcohol and other drug use because of their gambling habit and what it did to their family to break it apart. So please, this is nothing to play with. This is a very serious thing, and I get it. The record numbers are staggering, but you don't have to jump on board with that. There's so many other things you could be doing with your money, so many other ways you could be responsible. So just don't do it. To the celebrities, I want to work with you. I don't like what you're promoting. There's no question about that. But I don't judge you as an individual. I don't know you. Well, I've met you, Jalen Rose. You probably don't remember. But from what I've met and when we did talk briefly, I know the work you're doing is tremendous. The work you're doing with that school, the work you're doing in the community, the work that you do for Detroit, is just outstanding. It's unbelievable. And I want to work with you. The athletes that are in your network, what if we did something like a trainer-trainer piece where we can train athletes in financial education and then have them turn around and go out to the communities teaching financial education where they come from? That would be a very powerful movement. I'd love to work with you on that. Or to you, Kevin Hart, where a couple of people removed, and I know individuals in your organization, and I've heard some tremendous things about your work ethic and the drive and all the tremendous things you do for the community. I've seen many times you on various panels talking about the principles of financial education. I know you have a good relationship with Chase. I want you to see if we can sit down and think outside the box. What if we could take those 90 million people that are unbanked and underbanked and set up a digital financial education platform funded by Chase, where we have ongoing financial literacy and education, where individuals can communicate and talk to that various network, to that platform. And then we can refer them to the 18,000 nonprofits that are in our network for one-on-one ongoing financial literacy and education. We can set up a virtual financial education coach for the entire country, and it wouldn't be hard to do, just to take a little bit of collaboration. Or Jamie Foxx. I don't know you from Adam, but I know your work. The work that you're doing is second to none. The work you did with Ray and In Living Color, making individuals laugh, bringing joy and entertaining the community, man, what you did for the culture is phenomenal. I don't like what you're promoting, but I do like what you stand for outside of that. What if we can take your influence with various celebrities? There's probably not too many celebrities that you don't know at this point. Your network is broad, it's vast. I know many banks and many institutions would love to sit down and talk about a virtual financial education network where we can train individual celebrities to be ambassadors of financial literacy and education, to promote things that are, again, that are counterintuitive to that elephant in the room, that $500 billion industry, the payday loans, the check cash, and the title loans. We have to have individuals like yourself not promoting the casinos, but promoting budgeting, promoting investing, promoting business ownership, and not just to a small level, but on a large level. We can make that happen. Why can't we work with organizations like Feeding America that feeds 46 million people a year, over 200 food banks across this country, and set up a digital financial education platform that educates the entire network. And then as the entire network is learning and getting education from that one singular digital financial education platform, we're referring them to our network of over 18,000 nonprofits for ongoing one-on-one help. This is the type of stuff we could do to start an economic revolution. So let's take the gambling, and I'm not judging you for that. I don't like it, but I'm not judging you as an individual. I want to get to know you. I want to work with you. And I hope I hear from you. My information is on the bottom of this page here. I hope that we reach out. I'd love to work with you. Peace.